with a greater or a lesser potential. This is pretty much what I'm trying to show. You're talking about Le Corbusier's Unité, for example. I think the way he designs the parents' bedroom overlooking the living room, it gives a lesser potential for intimacy, for example. So to me, this is something he's going to give to inhabitants. And well, spatially, this is something that is going to limit inhabitants. So what do they do? It's exactly what you said. People would just get the floor up to the window, so there's no more link. Otherwise, they would get no privacy anymore. So this is pretty much what I'm trying to show through those examples. And I mean, this is just a little range of what I'm studying. And what's interesting about those buildings is that they are isolated from urban settings, in a way. So you can't speak about urban as being as giving a particular relational potential for itself. Architecture has to provide it on its own. And so that's what's really interesting about this corpus, for, well, according to me. But I think ideology has pretty much nothing, well, in this case, nothing to do with it, because we're talking about functional spaces. And well, we see that it's been designed as functional, but it's not functional anymore, because it was functional 40 years ago, and it's not anymore. I mean, the kitchens are too narrow, they're not open wide enough, but I really try to go beyond that to see what's the essence of the spaces and what they provide to you.
Yes, I just thought answer some the problem I think is not what is the role of the architect, but we guess that it's an architecture without architect, in the sense it is the problem of space making we are interested in. So it is an overlapping of different spaces here, and we're not interested in a specific form of this architecture, but in the forms of the organization of those spaces, out of control, if you accept this. So these are autonomous structures, without any doubt, and these buildings have lost their initial function. That's the key issue of all this. And we are interested how all those different kinds of spaces, beginning with topographies or networks or fire rooms, they are called, how they overlap within an existing urban context. That's our main issue. But you are right. What is the role of the architect here? That's it's an architecture without architect.
Which is a problem for us.
But it's a problem when you're not asked to design spaces. But when you are asked to design spaces, then what do you do? This is pretty much what I'm trying to say. Okay, because in most buildings now we think about, okay, they should be sustainable. So everything is drawn towards that question. But the essential questions of what are you doing with the dwelling, those are just set aside, because isolation comes first, or solar gains and stuff like that. And then what are the qualities you do?
The problem, I think, emerges because it is an architecture outside of normative groups. So the current planning doesn't have the tools to organize those spaces.
Just have a short question for Pablo. In your presentation, you did actually address the problems of the ground floor of the flat quite many times. But in the competition, the winning scheme, and also other scheme, the second place, third place, I didn't see much their response to that area, and maybe you didn't talk about more, or they didn't address that space at all. Could you clarify?
No, sorry, I take a long time, so I took a long time in my presentation. So the last 3 slides, I go ahead. No, the response, especially the first and the second, they are both beautiful projects. In my bibliography, you can check also the book I published, but also the website. And on the website, and in another website is Europa Concorsi. If you digit the name of the winner, you can check the results, and are very interesting because they propose what we ask. So dwelling on the ground floor with the thinking about what means today build dwelling at ground floor. So without problem of introspection and with for people, I didn't mention the users and the dwellers, the future dwellers of the flats, but in the top floor there are required dwellings for young people, young couple, on the ground floor for elderly and people with disabilities, because on the top floor the lift doesn't arrive. So no, they respond very well. Because I have the lucky to be also during the competition jury. So I have to check, for example, how many dwellings, how many people they put inside. So it is quite important, this topic for the competition.
Yeah, because I just think about the way you got funding from I don't know, authority, like politicians, that you say that maybe for some political reasons, and yeah, I believe that I mean it's normal. Politicians want to have some project, like support someone, but at the end now funding has gone. But I just because I asked about that ground level, because if I don't know if, for example, if you make the competition just for that part, so it means it will be smaller, because from the schemes that you show is like a design for the whole area, things like that. But I just think that, for example, if there will be next competition that just focus on that space, for example, so maybe the funding that will be required will be smaller, and probably it can be like carry on, that's the idea. Because something small may be also interesting.
Yes, no, but this competition, because the topic is the rehabilitation of social housing in Italy and also in Europe, because I don't know, I see a lot of public housing built in those years, for example, in Holland or in France. The problems are common. The problem is the space. The huge space, space left void. So they are divided that can, they are perceived as dangerous, like, or as I told you before, space of microcriminality. So it is important to densify these spaces. It is not important if the space is big or small, or what you put. Probably in these cases we have in Rome a big answer. A big question is a question of house. There are many people that now want to live in Rome, and there are no house. There's no or houses are very, very, very expensive, and there's no houses for people, as my colleague Luisa Hotti told, grey, people like students or city users or people like like us. So one of the topic is the houses, but probably in this district one of the topic is public function, because they weren't built at the time of the neighborhood.
I have a question to Peter Volgger. So your presentation deals with the immigrants and with the, as you have mentioned, with the literally undesigned spaces. But I think that gave the opportunity to search for new data. For example, when you are trying to make a spatial and urban analysis, you talked or you analyzed different parts of the human daily life of the human being, of the immigrants, not as the users that feels comfortable at plus 20 degrees and not composed of the simple movement diagrams. I think that gave also the opportunity to deal with the psychology, with the social life of the people living in those spaces. And also, I think you ended up with the with new, not new, but with unique representations of your analysis, as there are no ready architectural representations of those spaces. So that was the comment part, and the question is, what would you say, or what do you think about the current or giving architectural design methodology, or not the design method, the relationship of the human being or human life to the architectural design methodology in this regard?
Yeah. So this is a very interesting question. So analyzing all those migrant spaces, we had to develop tools, graphic tools, and as you saw in my presentation, these are very free chosen tools for me, because this archipelago is just one diagram, so we work with diagrams. So now you can say that this is not the architectural design, it's not the usual design for these questions, but if you deal with these problems of phenomena that are trans phenomena, you have to choose some tools that are ready to give just a kind of insight in these new structures. Mm-hmm. So all those diagrams that I showed before are my personal diagrams. They are not a part of the Heigerstrand diagrams. They are very famous, developed in the 50s. But then we have to go further on and to develop new graphics for this. And this, I think, is the very strong for architecture. This is that what we can do, and not only to analyze it from a theoretical point of view. For example, this is very abstract, but also to show it in graphic. Mm-hmm. So it is so new. Mm-hmm.
And okay, not repeating the question, but so do you feel that, for example, the given criticism in architecture has this lack of dealing with the human life with all of its parts, and your analysis contains more on human life than the geometrical composition of a space?
Yeah, it is also a question of anthropology, of sociology, of psychology, and so on. So it is a multidisciplinary question. Of course, that's real. is not only about, as I said before, it's not only about architectural form, because this space making is very complex.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to go beyond their own discipline,
Mm-hmm.
of course. And to answer your question, I feel this necessity, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, if there are no more questions, then we can go to lunch. Thank you very much.